In New York State, proposed legislation may have patriots like you and I registering like sex offenders soon. Hi folks, Van Prepper here. If you want more information about the article that I'm talking about or the other things that I talk about, just look in the video description and you'll see links for everything that you need to know. Let's get right to it. Proposed public registry of terrorists in New York State could include tens of thousands of individuals who have never been convicted of a crime. Now, New York State is famous for this, and we'll talk about that more later. New York State Terrorist Registry Act is the name of it, and much like everything politicians do, the name really has nothing to do with what this bill will actually do. It is sponsored by Thomas Croce, a freshman Republican from Long Island who is a chair of the state's Homeland Security Committee. The bill would create a public list of people similar to what is done with sex offenders. You'll have to register, you'll have to tell your neighbors, and then people will be able to look, oh, where are the registered terrorists in New York? Where are they? Boom! And your name's going to pop up like a sex offender's name. The bill is going to be connected to the FBI's terrorist watch list, which has more than 1 million people on it, few of whom have ever been convicted of a crime. That's the problem. There is no due process, but they are seeking to stick people in this category so that your neighbors and your friends and everybody are going to look at you differently, and you're going to be restricted in all the ways that sex offenders are. The difference is sex offenders get due process. So let's look at this more in depthly, because classifying terrorists and registering terrorists doesn't sound like such a bad thing, does it? Let's look more in depth at how New York State applies this. Language in the bill requires a person to have committed a verifiable act of terrorism. That sounds great. The problem is that being on the FBI's watch list constitutes, according to them, a verifiable act of terrorism, despite what we've already said, very few of those people ever having been convicted of a crime. I am very likely on the FBI's terror watch list because I speak out against the infringements upon my freedoms and other freedoms here in the People's Republic of New Yorkistan. You better watch out when you agree to these terrorist bills at what the state or what the federal government actually considers who they consider to be terrorists. Let's look at a couple facts, shall we? Fact: New York State DHS already classifies people engaging in legal activities such as prepping to be potential terrorists. See the link to the video in the description where I have the paperwork on that. Fact: New York State has already been engaged in large-scale gun confiscations without due process. See the New York Times article that I will link to in the description, where 34,500 New York citizens have had their gun rights stripped away without due process. Based on these facts, it is not only reasonable, it is absolutely logical to be suspicious, to be leery of how New York State and the Department of Homeland Security are going to apply these definitions of terrorism and who's going to be on that list and what they are going to do then with that potential registry and how they are going to use that as a mechanism to take away the gun rights of law-abiding citizens here in New York. I'm Van Prepper. I hope you enjoyed the video. Check out the links in the description for more information. And as always, check me out on Facebook, on Pinterest, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Tumblr, and of course right here on YouTube. Happy shooting, everybody!